to our Tuesday, April 2nd. I had to look at my cheat sheet to figure out what date it was. Sorry. Commission work session. We will call this meeting to order, and thank you all for being here today. If you will join us, and if you can, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Jennifer?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, just a quick announcement before we proceed into presentations. How many people do we have here for pickleball? Yeah. So we will move that to item number 1 under action items so that you can get through it quickly and get out of here.
Go play pickleball.
And go play pickleball. Not that we don't want to keep you here for the whole meeting, and you're more than welcome to stay. But we like to be friendly to our visiting guests.
They won't want to stay.
No, they won't want to stay. Okay. Presentations. Arbor Day proclamation. I'll turn that over to Vice Mayor Franey.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm not, okay, Vince and, great. Okay, Arbor Day 2024. Whereas Arbor Day is a special day set aside for the planting of trees and was first celebrated on April 10, 1872 with the planting of 1 million trees. And whereas the planting of trees for the future sets Arbor Day apart from other commemorative holidays and sets the city of Dunedin apart as a community committed to the preservation of the environment. And whereas organized efforts of the city of Dunedin and the contributions of hundreds of individuals have allowed trees to be planted in the parks and public areas of the city of Dunedin. And whereas the city of Dunedin places great importance on being designated a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for the 35th year. Now, therefore, I, Maureen Mo Franey, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Mayor of the City of Dunedin, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Commission, do hereby proclaim the observance of Saturday, April 13th, 2024, as Arbor Day in Dunedin, and urge all Dunedin citizens to attend the tree giveaway, which begins at 8 a.m. on Saturday, April 13th, at the Achieva Credit Union corporate headquarters located at 1659 Achieva Way.
Yay!
Accept the proclamation. You can go up and accept the proclamation. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Vince Gizzi, Parks and Recreation Director, and it is my pleasure this morning to introduce Rick Warren, who just accepted the proclamation, our new city arborist.
Yay, Rick!
With us for
Welcome.
With us for just a couple of weeks now. Rick is a graduate from the University of South Florida, College of Business Administration, former owner of Warren Tree Service since 2007, who has done about 10 years worth of service for our city. He's a ISA certified arborist issued by the International Society of Arboriculture for the past 16 years. Excellent customer service and communication skills. And one of his objectives on his application was to be a difference maker and the ultimate team player, and to uphold the legacy of the excellent city arborists that have defined this position and our city, such as Craig Wilson, Art Finn, and Alan Mayberry. So appreciate that. And Rick, you have a few words to say.
All right.
Please.
Thank you, Vince.
You need to know that your position, whoever is in your position, is a beloved position in this city. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it.
You are like the face of our city, I swear.
All right. Well, thank you for that, and I'm honored to be there. Well, Vince covered a good bit of it. It's kind of a full circle moment for me, like you referenced. It started right here in the city of Dunedin in 2008 when I got my certification under then city arborist Alan Mayberry. So it's kind of a cool thing. Like Vince said, out of business. Pretty proud of what we've done over the last 16 years, but I was ready for a change. And when I heard this opportunity became available, I knew Craig Wilson well. We were in the same class together back in 2008. So
Nice.
know Craig well, got a lot of respect for him. Honored to be here, and I want to do my best for sure to represent the city. We're here to talk about the Arbor Day proclamation, which you've already done, 35th year Tree City USA, so I know everybody's really proud of that. The tree giveaway again, Those details are already out there. April 13th at the credit union, we've got about 750 trees that we're going to give out, 12 different varieties, 11 of which are Florida natives. So the ultimate goal is to have diversification of canopy throughout the city, like we've already done a good job of. The list of trees that we're doing this year: American elm, bald cypress, black tupelo, common persimmon, Dahoon holly, magnolia, crepe myrtle, red cedars, red maples, southern live oaks, southern slash pine, Walters viburnum. They're available to anybody, any resident in the city. We just ask that they show proof of identification. Each household can get up to 2 trees as long as supplies last. We're encouraging everybody to take a look at the calendar ahead of time to look at the different varieties and see what species they may be interested in. And it's going to be a drive-through event, so the park staff will be out there. We'll hand out trees. People driving through, we'll give out the trees to the folks in their cars. So appreciate being here.
awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
That's awesome. We cannot wait to see what you can do in our wonderful city. You know, we are a Tree City, USA, and it's so important. And just so you know, I don't even remember if I've sent you an email, but I did have a lady send me a video that I have not been able to send out all week because it's stuck in our email cog, if you will, about these beautiful trees on Pinehurst at a house that apparently is going to get torn down and rebuilt 4 houses, and all the trees are going to get cut down. So we hope they call you to go check it out.
They will.
Okay. Because it would be a travesty. All right, thank you so
Gotcha.
much. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Rick is definitely hitting the ground running.
Picture.
Oh, picture.
Can you get her? I can't.
Stand like right here. Make sure no one's blocking. 3, 2, 1. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then our second presentation is Earth Month proclamation. I will turn that over to Commissioner Gao.
Thank you, Mayor. Earth Month. Every month should be Earth Month. And if you don't mind, Natalie, I'm going to have Rick come up with you as well.
Yeah.
Just, you can receive it, but I just want to give him as much exposure as possible.
We've got a group.
Bring
Oh,
everybody.
everybody.
So-
Oh, my goodness. Yes,
Come
please.
on down.
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Oh, my goodness, you've made my day. All righty, so first, I guess, Natalie, I'll pass this off to you. And I'll go ahead and read. Thank you very much. Every month should be Earth Month, but we'll start with April. We got some hard work to do, ladies and Rick. All right, Earth Month 2024. Whereas April 22nd marks 54 years of worldwide Earth Day celebrations, which began in 1970 when 20 million Americans rallied for a healthy, sustainable environment. And whereas all life forms on Earth have a right to a healthy, sustainable environment, and as caregivers of the planet, we all have an obligation to change human behaviors that contribute to the environmental degradation to preserve the Earth's beauty and resources. And whereas Dunedin is fortunate to have over 1,600 acres of parks, open space, preserves, and trails, which enrich the lives of residents, visitors, and wildlife. And whereas the city of Dunedin is the home city for the Florida Gulf Coast Hope Spot, which supports critical marine species and promotes ocean conservation and water quality. And whereas Dunedin has Ready for 100% clean energy goals for municipal and community-wide operations. And whereas the city adopted Dunedin's Resilient Environmental Action Master Plan, DREAM, which is a 10-year plan with 150 action items. And whereas the City of Dunedin will continue to support and educate about the environmental awareness, natural resources, and wildlife conservation, clean energy, sustainable practices, and so much more related to the well-being of our planet. Now therefore I, Jeff Gao, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Mayor of the City of Dunedin, and on behalf of the entire City of Dunedin Commission, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Earth Month in the City of Dunedin and call upon all residents of this great city to be engaged in local and global efforts to protect our environment and join in supporting the goals of this worthwhile effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Gao. And
Yay, Earth!
good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager Natalie Gass, Sustainability Program Manager for the City of Dunedin. I'm very excited to be celebrating Earth Month with all of you. I agree, Earth Month should be every month. But we dedicate April to this, and excited to share some of the fun activities and events happening throughout the month. So all month we'll be promoting the 2024 Pinellas Solar Co-op, which Dunedin is actually co-sponsoring, and that is open to all residents and business owners to go solar, and it provides good protection, education, and resources. Even if you're not ready to commit, it's a great way to learn more and get information. The library is hosting the Growing Together event on the 13th, which will be a day of plants, crafting, and discovery, and great speakers. On that same day will be the Arbor Day tree giveaway. We'll have a booth downtown at the market on the 19th, where sustainability and environmental staff will be there to educate our residents and visitors. And we have great support from our communications team. They're going to be promoting information, education on social media, as well as we'll be sharing blog posts on the website. With that, I hope we all have a great Earth Month. We learn something new about the planet that we live on, participate in these Dunedin activities, and take action within our community. Along with introducing the city's new arborist, we're also excited to announce and welcome 2 new positions and staff members to the city. I'd like to call up Bill Pickram, the city's solid waste superintendent, and Michelle Monteclair, the city's environmental program manager, for those introductions.
Welcome.
Good morning. Michelle Monteclair, I'm the Environmental Program Manager, and I am happy and so excited to introduce Nicole Silverman. She is our Environmental Specialist 1 with our Stormwater Program. She has a Bachelor's in Marine Science from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. And she also worked at the Florida Fish and Wildlife Institute as a fish and wildlife technician. She brings a wealth of environmental knowledge and scientific knowledge to our city, and we're so happy to have her here.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Bill Pickram with Sanitation and Recycling. I wanted to be brief with this, but we have a second hire, and it's Savannah Bunch. Savannah, she is, if I give a plug to Jennifer Orhe and Sue Bartlett through how we've come and some of the old timers here, this is our 4th hire for the position. Is just backfilling Natalie's position, but this position really has in a 4th generation to where it grew from the CEQ to get a recycling program. But Savannah is the 4th hire, and it just tells you how much these positions are sought after. But Savannah comes to us from the University of South Florida with an undergraduate in psychology, and then she also has a master's in sustainability and management from Bath College, Bath University over in England. And I just want to introduce Savannah.
Welcome.
So as you can see, we have quite the team here in Dunedin for sustainability, the environment, and resilience, and we're just really excited to have this level of support from our commission and our leadership, as well as our community members, so thank you.
Well, we couldn't be more excited, right, Jeff?
Very excited.
I always look at him,
You gotta
because
keep
if
him
you don't
busy.
know, Jeff is our environmental guru.
Keep them busy.
So we're very excited to have each and every one of you, and I know we're going to want to do a picture with the group, so come on down.
All right, 3, 2. Got it, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. All right, now we move on to citizen input. So this is the time for anybody that wants to come forward and speak to an item that is not on the agenda. Please feel free to do so. All right, seeing or hearing none, we will move on to our consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes for the strategic planning workshop, regular meeting, and work session, board and committee appointments for Arts and Culture Advisory. Yep. And then the award of GEC Service Authorization Task Assignment to Kimberly Horn in the amount of $158,000 and change. The award of a bid for well rehabilitation for $314,000, and the request to approve to issue a purchase order piggybacking the PAEC agreement for precision sidewalk safety in the amount of $200,000. Are there any items to be pulled?
I'd like to pull 2D and 2E.
2D and 2E.
And I concur on 2E, so yes.
Anybody else? No? Okay, so can I have a motion and a second to approve all items except 2D and 2E?
So moved. Second.
Okay, and Commissioner Tornga and Commissioner Gao. Is there any public input on these items? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. We will go to item 2D, which is the Southeast Drilling Services in the amount of $314,000. Did you just have a quick question?
Well, it is a quick question, but then I'm hoping to get a little bit of background as a result of that question.
Do you want to ask the question first?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So, first of all, I completely understand, the fact that this well has been in service, was placed in service in 1915. I totally understand, I think we all totally understand the obsolescence issue with regards to the infrastructure that supports that well. I guess the question is probably about how, if you could give a real quick overview of what the plan is with that, because obsolescence is a huge issue, and protecting our wells is a huge issue, and I think just like to get a little more background.
Yes, by the way, my name is Mike Moshenik. I'm the city hydrogeologist.
Your mic. Can you turn your mic on?
Sorry, once again, my name is Mike Moshenik. I'm the city hydrogeologist. I've been with the city for over 20 years. And just to give you just a very brief background, well, this is his first city municipal well. It's located behind the Truist Bank building, right on the Pinellas Trail. As far as, and, it's been serving the, citizens of the Dunedin for over 100 years. And great quality water. For over 100 years, it still produces really well. Water quality is phenomenal, way better than a lot of our inland wells. For a coastal well, it still performs really well. Yes, after 100 years, the casing has degraded quite a bit. First thing we're going to do is restore the casing, replacing the 10-inch steel casing that was originally installed with a 6-inch casing, stainless steel casing, and then doing a pump test to make sure that the well is performing water quality-wise, production-wise, the way we expect, and it should be. We're putting all the new equipment, pump and motor. This will be the last submersible configuration that will be installed, replacing all of the old above-ground turbines that we had in the past. In addition to that, we'll, control valves, check valves, SCADA communication systems, pump testing, as I think I mentioned. Briefly, that's all the work that will be going into that.
No, I appreciate that. I think where I was interested was the then actually leading to the next question is the viability of the well. And it sounds like you've got a good engineering plan. And by reading the background, though, my impression on that is that the viability of the well itself doesn't really get tested until after the engineering part of it, the infrastructure is replaced.
I expect the well to perform the way it's always performed, which is, which is one of our best. Like I said, the city's won awards for, best tasting water, and chlorides, which is a big salt water concern, especially along the coast, are very, very low. And I expect that to be unchanged. But pump testing, just to ensure that that is the case prior to putting more money into it, is something I just want to make sure that we do.
Good morning, Nan Bennett, Public Utilities Director. The contractor, the well driller that does the work, puts in a temporary pump to do the capacity test. And so that is done before we invest in all the equipment, all the pumping equipment and everything. And that's what we're confirming in advance.
Okay, perfect, yeah. Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Yeah, no
Anybody
further
else have questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mayor, I do. Thank
Go
you.
right ahead.
So as we begin this activity, if something happens or a determination is made, is the person that was a qualified bidder, are they aware of the fact that it may stop at that point in time? So that's good. I appreciate that very much. And then second of all, I had a question about this well. Obviously, this is tremendous history for us. Part of the reason why Dunedin was founded the way it was because of our water supply, and then we got this #1 well that was just fantastic. The difference in the bid, there was a $345,000 bid, and then there was a $500 and some $1,000 bid. Are we okay with? I like the less expensive one, of course. This is John, but I just want to make sure that's understood or about the bid itself.
I couldn't agree more. We only got 2 bids, and I hear what you're saying regarding the difference in the cost, but the winning bid is the contractor that has a maintenance agreement with us currently. So I've worked with them. They do work with us on a regular basis, pulling pumps. They've pulling and replacing pumps as needed. I know the owners, and I've worked with them for probably 15 years, just with the city, and they have a good reputation. We check their references, and their references are good, as good as I would have given them. I've given them good references in the past, so for other, as requested for jobs. So I'm very confident with them. I'm glad they got it.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I? Just because it's talked about almost every day or week or month in the region, in the concern over fresh water and that we're running out, is that concern, is there a tie between that concern throughout the region, not Dunedin, but the region, and the failure of this well? And if it's operating, and how are we in general with our fresh water in the city?
Okay.
The failure of this well was mechanical, of the equipment, the pumping equipment. It wasn't of the quality of the water or the aquifer. So it's the equipment that we're reworking. So I would say, no, it isn't necessarily tied to that. But having as many wells at our disposal so that we can rotate and gently remove water from various parts of the aquifer is an important best management practice for making sure that we don't cause any further degradation of the resource.
Thank you, Nan. That was the answer I was looking for. And I think it's important that the public hear that this isn't a concern for our overall water quality issue. And from what I know, for well number 1, it is the highest quality water that we have in the city, which is ironic given it's also the closest to the coast and the salt water. So I think that's really interesting. If, for whatever, I'm just going to put this out there, that there is an operational failure to that well and it cannot be operable, because if it's not only valued from a water standpoint, but as Commissioner Torga mentioned, the historical value and how far back that well goes to the founding of the city, that if it's a failure and can no longer be operated, that it isn't just covered up, that there is some acknowledgement of what it did to us, for us throughout history. And I'm just going to put that out there. I'm pretty confident that it will remain operable, but I just wanted to put that out there before it's just concreted over.
Yeah, that's obviously a great idea, something that we've always been thinking. Actually, in 2017, well 1 was designated as a historical landmark, and it has a plaque on the building. And so, yes, we'll always give that well the respect that it deserves. That was, the first municipal well that, served a lot of people for, a long time, still does. Hopefully for years to come.
Hopefully. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Anything else? Okay, any feedback from the public?
We're just curious, how many
Sorry, you've got to come to the microphone and announce yourself. Don't get yourself in trouble, girlfriend. What would you like to know?
Hello, I'm Kathy Kalankowitz, and we were just curious, this is the first we heard of it, how many wells are there in Dunedin?
29 production wells.
Wow, thank you.
And in that nice, we have so many, and you don't even know that they're out there.
Yeah, you don't. Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved. Second.
Third.
Okay, Vice Mayor Franey and Commissioner Walker. We've already asked for public input. We've gotten it. Any final discussion? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and then Rob, the request on the sidewalk, is it a question that you have?
Yes, question. Thank you.
Let's wait for our folks to come forward.
Oh, chief, leave me all alone. Good morning.
Welcome. What's your question?
So, with the brick sidewalks, with the, the significant tree infrastructure in the way of roots, I know that keeping ahead of the sidewalk maintenance is a full-time plus job. The only question I would have on this is that with going to a purchase order vice a piggyback arrangement, is that going to expedite some of the repairs that need to occur? We get feedback every single day almost with regards to sidewalks that need some element of maintenance. Any feedback on that would be helpful.
So you're asking, Mark Walters, Public Services Manager. Good morning.
Hey, Mark.
To go out to contract, if that's what you're asking, we would like to do that, but I don't think we have the funds to have a major contract. Right now, like Pinellas County is putting out a $2 million sidewalk contract. We like this because it buys us time over a 10-year period, and we're getting a big area done and saving a lot of money and a lot of trip and falls. Like I said, we saved $310,000 so far in the 3 years we've done this, and a lot of manpower.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be saving time.
That was, thank you. That's the answer I was looking for. Because, it's, it's important. That's really all the questions I had. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mayor, may I?
Sure.
All right.
You may.
I love talking sidewalks. Mark and Teresa, throughout this whole thing, what I read was liability in ADA, and that's wonderful. I get the safety aspect of it. I like the idea, the ADA aspect. But through this process, is there any lens that's looking at the sidewalks, forward-thinking? Are they meeting the current standards? Are we seeing places in the city where the sidewalks should be wider? I did read in the report that you are seeing increased pedestrian traffic on the sidewalks, because I'd like to see our sidewalks looked at from the same, through the same lens as we put, not the same lens, but the same emphasis through our roads and our infrastructure there, and look at sidewalks as really true forms of transportation pathways. And so I'll be looking at it through that lens. I'll be looking at wider or increased sidewalks throughout the community, et cetera, et cetera.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Teresa Smalling, Director of HR and Risk Management for the city. And to your question, Commissioner Gao, I believe all that is included in the multimodal transportation plan that Community Development has put out. I know they have earmarked different sections throughout the city for wider sidewalks as part of the balancing pedestrians with traffic. Unfortunately, with the amount of sidewalk that we have throughout the city, that would be truly a challenge for us. And you know, with the contract, the piggyback that we're looking at, we do not have the personnel to maintain all of our sidewalks. So this will help us. And short answer to your question is yes, we're looking at it.
Thank you, Teresa. Oh, I would say, well, take all that road infrastructure money, maintenance, and put it into sidewalks. And the better our sidewalks are, the more people will walk. But we'll get there. You had mentioned that's also in the multimodal plan, and there's a lens through that. And so now that just piques my curiosity. So do we have two different lenses? We look at our sidewalks. Are we duplicating efforts instead of, you know, if they're out looking at the maintenance, could they also be looking at it through that expanded sidewalk lens instead of two different departments that may or may not be talking to each other?
Mayor,
morning,
Vice
George.
Mayor, Commissioners, George Kinney, Community Development. So I thought I would jump up here and talk a little bit about the multimodal transportation plan. So I don't believe there's a nexus to the existing program that you're looking at today, but there's certainly a plan from the community development standpoint to get back into that multimodal transportation plan and do a little bit more work with both bicycle and pedestrian improvements, if you will. The multimodal plan unfortunately doesn't specify sidewalks generally for different kinds of environments. So obviously for local roads, your sidewalks don't have to be as wide. Urban areas, you want wider sidewalks because you're dealing with street trees and furniture and amenities and those types of things, and you need that passing distance. So part of what we're thinking about this year is introducing a new business plan initiative that would not only look at some of our bicycle improvements, but would incorporate a pedestrian design standard, or a sidewalk design standard, if you will, similar to what you see in larger cities like Minneapolis and those cities that actually put those illustrations forward with minimum design widths. So we are considering that. That'll come to you shortly as part of the budget process. So hopefully that will address some of those issues that you're talking about.
That's the answer I was looking for. Fantastic. Yes, Bob.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say from obviously a downtown perspective, walkability is absolutely key. And of course, we just did the Constantina streetscape. We widened it and we took care of the ADA aspect. And we're looking at the second phase too. So obviously the high walkability areas within the downtown, we're looking to see where we can widen it, get rid of utilities and things of that nature, make it more walkable. So that's always number one in the downtown.
You know, I really do like a city that can have a project on widening a sidewalk, and how excited we get over that is just, and we all talk all the time about what a wonderful project that was for our downtown.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank
you all.
Anybody else?
I have no idea why we're talking about trip and falls today. Walkability. So one of the comments in the agenda item was 25%, we're at 25% where we've fixed our sidewalks. And I'd asked Jennifer this question, I'm going to ask you guys, how much after this $200,000 do you think we'll cut into that in terms of the percentage of sidewalks and fixing?
Well, this coming year, I'm really hoping to get the whole Rangewood and Ravenwood area
Which is
completed.
huge.
Which is huge. And that would also complete Amberley and Piper's Glen. Those
That
are
is a
big
huge
areas
area.
that I remember 15 years ago, they went through and replaced a lot of sidewalk in there. And it's just the tree roots are the main thing on this. So I'm hoping to get through this neighborhood this year and I still see we might be at 40% after this year, so we still got ways to go. But in some of the newer subdivisions, they're not going to be as bad as the older subdivisions. And we've already completed the south quadrant of the city, so that was a big improvement to us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very supportive of this. I shared a couple concerns, smaller concerns with Jennifer, but I think it's important. The city will pay one way or another. As a former risk manager, I know that to be true. So I think it's important. It's a great program. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, if I may then, Mayor. I think it would be interesting, I'm sure there's folks here that would like to know how many miles of sidewalks we have. The areas that you mentioned are the most particular areas for us to contend with at this point in time. And
We approximately have 35 miles, and I'm hoping before I come to you guys next year that I'm going to have a better idea of, and through the GIS program, on how many exact miles we have. But I'm thinking somewhere around 35.
And also just to know that this has always been a point of yours of that kind of repair, just for usability, if nothing more. I know the commission here has supported this for years. We went from, in fact, the city manager and I were talking again about this yesterday. We went from, what was it, 40,000?
50,000.
Whatever that number, yes, and it needed to be bigger than that. I know Jorge was all over that as well. And we're now at 200,000 in an attempt to correct the situation. So they probably wanted to know that number. They have it now, and we are on top of it. But great points. We need to get it done as quick as we can. It's money. Thanks.
The only thing I will add, and it's not really a question, it's, you know, you have the one thing about widening in certain areas. We have the other thing about, you know, fixing and replacing, repairing from long time tree root damage. But then there's also the other issue of adding sidewalks where they are not. And there are any number of older neighborhoods in our community. We started to do that kind of a program. I want to say it was 2011. I just don't remember the exact. And we ended up taking the money, you know, we were adding money and adding money and adding money, trying to urge neighborhoods to allow us to do this. And I think we have to get back to that program. You know, you have a love-hate relationship with sidewalks. And I can think of one very long-term neighborhood that has not had sidewalks. They do have wider roads. They've been around for a long time. I'm looking at Vince because it's his neighborhood. I just don't want to say it out loud because we'll start getting emails about it. And you have people that are walking constantly in the middle of the road, and that's just not safe. And so there are neighborhoods that I do think we have to plan over time for added sidewalks, and we have to come up with a process of how to do that. It is our right-of-way. It is our ability to do that, and if it's a public safety issue, we should. But I leave it to my colleagues as something in the future to be looked at, because we've had plenty of past commissions that have felt pretty strongly, and there are a number of neighborhoods that have no sidewalks. We shouldn't put our kids or our folks walking their dogs out in the middle of the road, and so I think that has to also be addressed. It's not a cheap thing to do, and it's very controversial because people don't, for some reason, I haven't had a sidewalk now, I don't want it in my front yard, except that when you go look to buy a house, that's one of the first things you look for, is having a sidewalk, you know, and and being safe. So I just throw that out for my colleagues to think about for the future. Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak to this item? All right. Can I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Gao. Any final discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, pickleball. All right, so we have Resolution 2408 for safer grant application. Nope, sorry. I was just teasing. Really? We have the contract award bid 24-1259 for Eagle Scout Park pickleball courts in the amount of $728,516. Vince? It's all you, buddy. Thank you, Mayor. Uh-huh.
There we go. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. With me this morning is Bruce Worth, our City Consulting Engineer for this project, and also Jocelyn Broadhead, our Recreation Superintendent, who will be assisting me in presenting this morning. So as you're all aware, the Parks and Recreation Department has worked diligently over the past year and a half to find a space to construct dedicated pickleball facility, beginning with a public meeting back in January, I can tell you the exact date, January 4th, 2023. After much research and community engagement, staff presented the recommendation to repurpose the 3 tennis courts at Eagle Scout Park into 10 pickleball courts. This recommendation was supported by the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee and approved by the City Commission at the July 27, 2023 Commission meeting. That's where we went over all the details of the project. Staff subsequently received a scope and fee proposal from Kimley Horn to provide design services and prepare construction documents, bid documents, and construction services. The project scope includes removal of existing materials except for the concrete base, so most of the tennis court is going to remain. Expansion of the base on 2 sides, north and east. We're going to be expanding it by 18 feet to the north, 18 feet to the east. Installation of new sports surface. This is a premier court surfacing from Sportsmaster Pro. Fencing, netting, windscreens, shade structures, benches, LED lighting, and a sidewalk connecting to the courts. A bid alternate to install a sidewalk from Virginia into the park for improved pedestrian access and safety was included in the package. That was the bid alternate. The project was put out to bid with submissions due on March 12th, 2024. The city received 4 proposals. Sports Service LLC was the lowest bidder. However, their bid was rejected as they were not properly licensed. The lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Tim Group Building and General Contractor in the amount of $728,516, including the bid alternate for the additional sidewalk into the park and contingency allowance of 10%. The contractor's references have been checked and they were favorable. Staff recommends commission approval. And again, I'm here with our consulting engineer, Bruce Worth, and Jocelyn Broadhead. Any questions?
Okay, questions? Yep, Vice Mayor?
So Vince, I know that you try to get a lot of eyes on this to make sure we didn't miss things, but explain a couple of the nuanced things that you've done, like the area down the middle, like the buffer area, things that maybe some places might not do, but they're important to the players, they're important to balls going into different courts. And I mean, can you talk about that and where that sidewalk's actually going to come in here? Just a couple of those things, in shaded areas, things like that.
So if you see on the picture that's shown, the rendering, you'll see an area that's darker blue and white. The darker blue areas are awning structures. It's about a 10-foot pathway through the middle of the courts, and mostly for disruption. So when pickleball players are playing, if people have to walk through their courts, it does disrupt the play. So that is an aisleway down the middle, and there's 5 shade structures and 10 benches in that location. Around the perimeter, we also have excellent LED lighting around the perimeter. There's going to be 16 lights, 4 on each side of the courts. So all around the perimeter, there'll be a total of 16. The sidewalk that's coming off of Virginia is mainly for safety reasons. When you go by that park, and now that it's going to get a little busier, and we did this also on Ed Eckerd into Highlander Park, we're adding a sidewalk that's going to take you from Virginia all the way into where the community gardens. You can see some of the outline
yeah, that's
there.
great. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know, again, and I've heard some of this from some of the people that play pickleball, that they've had some input into some of this. Who's going to be the actual, and I trust you guys will tell me if they've missed something critical when you get your chance. Who's going to be the project manager?
Bruce?
Bruce is? Okay, good. Because, and we've got the staff time, you've got the time to make sure. I mean, obviously, we waited a long time for this, so, we'd like it to be perfect, so.
I make the time. Vince has my number, so.
Good. I actually have your number, too,
Between painting
so.
walls and other things, it has not been a problem. It works out well. There's really nothing that keeps me from doing this and several other projects at this point, so, and I'm comfortable with that, so.
Great.
I'm good.
Okay.
And then Kimberly Horn is going to be doing some moderate inspections as well.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, I think that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions,
Yes,
Commissioner?
thank you. 2 questions about the ingress and egress. First of all, we're familiar with that road, it exists. The sidewalk is going to be done? We are planning on doing the sidewalk?
Yes.
Are there any other entrances to this park that are desirable by our residents and the users of this facility?
That's a loaded question. Desirable.
Yeah.
There is another entrance.
Well,
Pardon?
the other entrance is on the east side of the park. There's a small parking lot next to the compound, next to our Public Works compound.
How about?
Yes, but you can't access the park from that side. It's fenced off, and then the only other access really is the firehouse itself has a road, but that's really not where the public should come into. So really, the only access is what you see on the west side along that road.
And that's the only one that we've heard about and that has been requested, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I add in? There is a foot access on the north side in the corner, down at the bottom corner of that picture.
Oh.
Unless it's been blocked off.
It is obstructed right now, and it's not legal access.
I know.
Right.
It's obstructed?
Yes.
How is it obstructed?
It's overgrown.
Oh. Gotcha.
Oh, they know.
Yeah, well, that shows my age. I lived right behind there, so I used it many, many years. Okay. Gentlemen, questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Vince, you might have mentioned it. Is there a start time to this and when it should be open?
Well, if you let me, so how we do this, so today's the award. As soon as we get that, we'll reach out to the contractor. We know we want to fast track this, so we've let them know we'd like to do the pre-construction meeting in the next 2 weeks. Typically, we don't do the pre-construction meeting until we get the agreement signed. So just from today, we'll send them the agreement. They have 2 weeks to sign it, provide all the information in terms of insurance and bonding. It comes back to us, and then we have 2 weeks to, and we've been doing a little better than that, to get our signatures. And we typically don't do the pre-construction meeting until we have the agreement in hand. But what we've done, particularly with this particular contractor, they have a couple projects with us, so we're very familiar with it. We intend to bring them in a little early to do the pre-construction meeting, just to lay things out. They're ready to go. So my expectation is that we'll get all of that done this month. I don't know if we'll get, if they're ready to do the notice to proceed going forward. Typically, the contractor likes to hold off on the notice to proceed because that starts the clock until, in a case like this, they have to order materials and things, so they'd like to get some of that going before they officially start the clock.
She'll
But I
probably
would
start
expect
June.
in May. I would expect that we would begin, I would hope to begin in May.
And how long does that take?
So,
How long does this take?
we gave them a 60-day turnaround for substantial completion, 90 days for final completion. That's not unreasonable.
So beginning of fall,
You know,
July, August, yeah.
yeah.
Early fall,
probably September.
early fall.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. I know weather could be an issue. We're trying to get them in.
Yeah, you're gonna have
get
rain.
some things done, particularly the concrete work and stuff ideally could be done before any heavy rains. That's critical to get that additional piece. And then the court surfacing is dependent on, somewhat on weather, but they're lined up, they're subs.
All right. And we've done all the boring samplings. We're confident about the stabilization of that area?
We previously did some geotechnical work. At one point, the idea was to build a separate set of courts to the north. It's an old landfill, but we think that, and so we've used some of that information, but the surface that they're putting down doesn't hold a lot of weight. It's a floating thing. So we're comfortable that, we put some additional base and compaction requirements into this just for the new concrete on the north and the east.
Okay, so we won't see any cracking in the next 2, 3, 4 years?
Well, that's the key, is they have to dowel that piece in very, very securely. We gave them some specifications on how they have to make that connection so that you don't have a seam that moves.
Okay. And LED lights, so they'll be able to play at night. Is there any timer on that? There's going to be a certain time when they are no longer, they need to go home and go to bed.
Yeah, the hours will be from 7 in the morning to 10 at night, and the light will just switch off, lighting will just switch off at that time. However, the system that we have works very well. You go, you want to play, it's dark out, you push a button, the lights will stay on for 1 hour. If you want to continue to play, you go back outside the courts, push a button again on the control panel, and it'll stay on for another hour. That way, and at 10 o'clock, they'll just go off completely.
Okay, so they go off at 10 o'clock automatically?
Yes, but they will go off, they won't go on unless you push that button.
Right, so, but if I push the button at 9:55,
Still
they're not
go
going to
off.
stay on for an hour?
No, it'll still go off at 10.
Okay. Good. I'm
It's
just,
kind of the same as Little League.
yeah, I'm just
right?
concerned about the residents around them, being good neighbors, all right, and noise ordinances and things, so that's fantastic. Are there any bike racks?
No.
But we have plenty of bike racks we can, not in the plan, but we have plenty of bike racks that we can
We will
put out there.
incorporate them in
Yes.
this plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just because I heard from them, the events, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, for the price tag of this, and I certainly heard from the soccer community who have growing frustrations and concerns over the condition of our soccer fields. And so they look at this and go, what about us? So there's no doubt that you will hear from them. And something hopefully we can do for the soccer fields over there, because that's...
Yeah. And I have been
activity
meeting
for
with
our
them,
youth.
and I told you we have a plan to get the fields back into the shape that they need to be.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
If I can just add to your soccer conversation, well, and you might, John Hackworth is in the area this week. I just saw him. You might want to reach out to him. I know you worked with him on a program a couple summers ago, or springs. You might want to as far as soccer goes, you might want to reach out to him and find out if there's, as you're doing these improvements, he might be able to make suggestions, so you could have that sort of soccer spring training more often. Just a thought.
Okay. I can reach out to him.
He's down by IMG right now, but I think he's there for the whole week.
Okay. I have his cell phone number.
Yeah, shoot him a text. Rob?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. and you may have covered this, but what I'm not seeing, see the new amenities. Does any of those new amenities include shade or any sort of covering around?
Not over the complete courts, but that aisle down the...
Totally missed it, didn't you? You really missed it.
Did I?
It's the whole center thing.
Oh, I thought that was just the sidewalk part of it.
Well, the blue areas are, they're blue awnings, and the blue areas are the awning structures, and there's 5 of them. And under each awning is 2 benches. So there's a total of 10 benches and 5 awnings. But I have been asked about covering the entire
I certainly appreciate that because we know how hot it gets out there. I just wanted to make sure we were positively going to have some coverage.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Then if you want to just talk some more about parking.
We estimated we have about 60 parking spaces. It'll be on...
That's just, it's grass parking
Yes,
is
it'll be
what
mostly
you're doing.
grass, yes, which it is now.
Right.
For the
For the
play,
tennis
that's...
courts and, yeah. And that reduces the whole stormwater situation, which saves space. Okay. Okey doke. It is time now for public input. Anybody want to come forward and speak to this contract?
Good morning. I'm Jessica Rains. I'm a... Sorry?
Sorry. Don't worry about that. No, you got to do it, but time's up.
Good job.
3 minutes
She's
are
just trying to
over.
fix the clock.
Thank you for your input.
I do play pickleball. There is a saying that it takes a village. Well, in this case, it took a city, but oh, what a truly special city it is. I want to say thank you to the mayor, all the city commissioners, and the city manager. This has not always been easy, but you never gave up, and you believed that the permanent pickleball courts were an amenity that the city needed. I also want to recognize Lanny, who's not here today, Jocelyn, and Vince Gizzi from Parks and Recreation, the effort that they put into ensuring that our courts would meet the needs of all levels of players and be built in such a way to maximize the efficiency of the courts and the opportunities offered to the residents is to be commended. The patience that they showed in meeting with varying community groups and listening to everyone is to be commended. As I know you are aware that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America, and that Dunedin sees this and acts on it is just one more reason to love our little piece of paradise. Pickleball is a sport that can be played by grandparents, parents, and children all on one court. The opportunity for everyone of any age to get together, to be outside, and get some exercise is priceless. Permanent courts will allow more people to give the sport a try because they won't have to bring a net to try. I can say from experience that if you give it a try, you will be hooked. Thank you again for continuing to invest in activities that all residents can use and enjoy. Looking forward to seeing all of you out on those courts playing pickleball. Thank you so much.
Well, it sounds like she just spoke for everybody. Is that good for you guys?
Hey, I'm Charlie Street. It's good to
Yeah,
see you.
thank you.
It's good to see you all again.
Good to see you too.
I live in Amberley, sorry. I had a couple of questions actually for Vince. Vince, on the project, are there going to be any improvements or expansions to the bathrooms that are currently there?
All right, let's not do, we'll wait until the end, and
Oh, I'm
then
sorry.
all questions, we'll get him to answer at the end.
Okay.
Bathrooms,
That was my question.
that's the question. Okay,
But I'll show my age too, because I remember Dunedin is so cool, and you know this because you all live here. We're always repurposing and recycling our space. And I remember when the Dunedin pool
I
was
know.
on that ground.
which is why I used to sneak through that back area. Just saying, I know it existed at one point.
But I agree, it's a great idea. I was going to ask Commissioner Freeney if that was a pickleball accident.
Yeah.
For Armin Sling.
I'd like to say it was.
Yeah,
And I think the last time I saw Commissioner Gao downtown, we were talking about pickleball and trying to get him into the fold. But
I've got a racket and a ball.
well, you can ride your bike to
I got 2 or
pickleball,
3 balls, actually. Yeah.
and you can ride your bike to pickleball. So.
I could ride my bike.
Yeah,
If I had a bike
he
rack.
has accidents on bikes, though.
But-
Okay.
But I
Okay,
still
thank you.
support that.
Thank you.
All right. But Charlie, tell Sue, happy birthday.
You'll have a bike rack.
Anyone else? No, you can tell us what the questions are, and when everybody's done talking, I'll get Vince to
I am
answer.
Mary Jo Van Beek. I live on Lagoon Drive, and I also wanted to say thank you for doing this. Dunedin is such an awesome city, and I think this is just going to make it even more awesome. So I really appreciate all your hard work and everything that went into this, and I appreciate the thoughtful design. I was at the last meeting, and we talked about like putting the thing in the middle, and I have played on courts like this, so thank you for putting all the thought into the design. I was going to ask, I see lines in between the courts. Does that mean there's going to be a fence in between each, or is that going to be open?
Don't answer, we're going to answer everything at the end.
Okay.
Fence in between.
And then my other question was what the plans were going to be for Highlander courts, if you were going to leave the lines on there or remove them.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? Hi, name and address for the record.
So I have some questions similar.
Name and address for the record.
Oh, my name's Lee. So I have some questions like similar to them. One question is if you have built a new bathroom and a water fountain. Another one is the cover. It's not. I'm not talking about the bench cover. Also the court. Do you have a court cover? And another one is I hope you please leave the Highlander line since it's already there. Can you just leave there because see more and more people play, and we need that line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am. I don't believe the clerk got your name and address. Could you say it again into the microphone?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They did.
I live in Dunedin.
Address, we didn't see her.
I'm sorry, what?
I live in Dunedin.
Yeah, we do name and address. Or you could
Address.
tell, how about your neighbor, how about the neighborhood you live in, if you don't?
Highlander.
Highlander?
Yeah.
Okay,
Community Highlander.
gotcha. Okay, and normally
wanted
we
to
don't
get more
allow that
information
twice, but we will
on-
do that. That's okay, we'll make the
Mary Jo Van
exception.
Beek, Lagoon Drive, and you said something about a floating surface. I just wanted to get more information on exactly what the surface
Okay.
was. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Anyone else? Okay. Vince, I have the list. All right. First thing is we have bathrooms that I think they were built a couple years ago, maybe?
They're about 10 years old now, actually.
Okay, is there plans to expand them? Are there
They're a
plans?
prefab bathroom that was put in about 10 years ago, mostly for the community garden, use of the community garden
Uh-huh.
and the Dunedin Garden Club. And right now, there isn't a plan, but I can have some further conversation. We are in a budget timeframe.
Okay. So currently, there are no plans, but it doesn't mean that there can't be. You know, it's a phased approach. Water fountain?
There is a water fountain there, but I know, and we can make an improvement on that fountain, but I do know most people do bring their bottles of water as well.
Right.
But we can look at that.
Okay. And is there a fence in between on that little?
Yes, they're half fences. They're not 10-foot fences, they're 4-foot fences. And there is an opening, I don't have the dimensions right in front of me. There is an opening between the courts. But yes, there is the lower fence so the balls aren't
And that's
rolling onto other
in
courts.
between the two sides?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Plans for the Highlander courts and the lines on the Highlander courts?
Right now, we have, we're actually looking at the Highlander courts now. Bruce and I had Kimberly Horn back out to take a look to see what we could do.
Time's up, Vince. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, he's happy about that.
Yeah. I am so kidding. Go.
Did you want to talk a little bit about Kimberly Horn's proposal? Yeah.
Just to follow up where Vince said, so we actually had the designer for the Eagle Scout come out, and we did a site visit last week on the Highlanders Court. It's in pretty rough shape. So they're going to give us a proposal. The idea being is they need to look at that. We need to do some corings out there to figure out what that court's made of. The long story short, yes, we're looking at it. We've asked them to give us a proposal with the thought being is Vincent wanted to have a potential plan set to maybe go out to bid this summer or late summer so that we would maybe do construction in the fall if the monies were available. But, you know, Kimley Horn would look at it, just give you an idea of what we asked them to do is to do, and they did this here also, they will do a court survey, you know, to figure out if it's flat where the depressions are. This one's a little rougher than Eagle Scout. They're going to do a little more concentrated. Again, as I mentioned, we asked them to do some corings to figure out what that court's made of, what's underneath it. So anyway, we're in that mode, and we asked them to give us a proposal here in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
But is the proposal, I think what they're asking is, are we leaving the lines up at Highlander Court?
Yeah, that's, well, I just also wanted to just follow up one thing Bruce said. We also have over $250,000 in our budget this year to make the improvements on the courts, so that's why we'd like to get this project started. But we didn't want to start until we knew that we were getting the pickleball approved, because we didn't want to displace pickleball
Right.
until these courts were completed.
The
So
lines on Highlander Court, are we leaving them there?
right now, that's to be determined. We want to see the play that we're getting on the,
And that's the way to approach it.
right,
So they're not going anywhere this second is the point.
right. And
You're
if
going
we
to see what
decide,
the play is, you're going to see, you're going to do the counts,
yes.
you're going to monitor it before
Right,
making
so
that determination.
To be determined at this point.
Gotcha.
And that's an easy.
Makes total sense.
That's an easy fix. It's a matter of repainting lines.
And that makes total sense. Okay, and complete court cover? No, there is not a complete court cover, right?
Right,
Just over the center?
correct.
And floating surface, can you talk about what a floating surface is?
I'm not sure what that question was about, but the surface, it's a sports surface. I'm not sure if I would call it a floating surface, but it's a layered surface that they put on top of the existing concrete. It's a combination of, you know, paints and materials, and also it's built for, I don't know how to answer that necessarily, I'm not an expert, but it's built for an outdoor courts that, you know, get the extreme sunlight, the heat, the expansions, all of that.
So it's a layer on top of
Yeah,
the foundation.
It's not floating.
It's not the concrete is poured on top of something floating. It's on top of.
Yeah, so they're going to put and there's some in the specs we show what it is that they're proposing, but it's a combination of you can imagine the first coat, after they scrape everything off, they're going to seal it, and then they put some different layers on, then the final coat will be the surface itself. So my understanding is there's a couple of different products that you lay on top of one another to get to the final surface.
Okay.
And any of those coatings, do they help correct a bad shot?
Yes.
It depends who's hitting the ball. So it is one of the best, our research tells us it's one of the best. It's called Sportsmaster Pro Cushion Premium Court Surfacing. So with that name, you got to feel it's the best surface you can get for pickleball courts, for recreational courts.
Okay, we've got all of that done. Oh, go ahead,
Yeah, I
sorry.
just wanted to ask one question. I want to ask this, but, so as we're doing all this, we love our pickleball players, but we're also continuing to have good conversations with our tennis players and just the changes we're making. True?
Yes. In fact, we've had a few meetings with tennis players, and we're going to continue meeting like every 6 weeks or so. And we are talking about the courts, almost similar, that came up here today, courts, the bathrooms at Highlander Park. We just actually painted the bathrooms in Highlander Park, so that's one little small improvement that we're able to make. But we want to do a deeper dive on what the Highlander courts are going to need. And we have done some temporary filling of cracks, so they're still playable, but they do need an improvement.
Thank you, Vince.
And we do have the money, we do have money in the budget, and we feel that number I mentioned could do it, but once Kimley Horn gets a better look at it, you know, and again, it's budget time, we may be able to add a little to the following year.
Thank you. And I just have to say, you and your staff take such ownership with how you do your projects, and it's very appreciated.
And also,
Okay.
Jessica did mention Lainey Sheets. She's in here today, but she's been real instrumental in putting some
Okay.
of this design together.
Very, very true. I need a motion and a second to approve this bid.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor Franey, Commissioner Walker. Okay, final comments. Vice Mayor?
No, I mean, this has been a long time coming. Appreciate the pickleballers' patience. I know sometimes it was pretty thin. Appreciate the tennis players' patience, because this has been a thing where people got pitted against each other in ways that, is unfortunate, but it wasn't anybody's fault. I mean, this happened. Maybe we should have been a little better ahead of the curve, but I think, Vince, you tried to tell us. But we're here, and it's happening. And so by the fall, we'll all be playing. And Kathy did train me a little bit, so maybe once I'm healthy, I'll be back out there. But so I'm real excited about the project.
Okay. Commissioner Walker?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this as well. I think the passion of the pickleball community here in Dunedin is absolutely undeniable. And I will say that having actually inadvertently attended a pickleball tournament in Grand Rapids, I think I can attest to the fact that it is a very rapidly growing sport. I was just surprised at how many venues were repurposed for the purpose of the tournament, as well as all the participants that were in the city at that particular point. The other thing, just in terms of the staff, Vince and your staff, you guys really kept on this and got us to a solution that I think we can all be proud of and excited about. So, thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor. It's just a wonderful example of the good things that come together when we all get together. So it's a wonderful project. Vince, just my thoughts on the overall shade structure or the lack thereof. At some point, if our summers continue, that's going to be a necessity. I know for sports like this, for sports like tennis, actually, in my opinion, they're always half used. You can go out to any of these courts at 2 in the afternoon, and there's nobody there, rightfully so, because it's too hot to play. So what we'll do is if demand for pickleball increases, and I know that demand is actually already here, and some of them would say, we need 20 courts. Instead of going down that route and have 20 courts that are half used, look for a way that this can be used full time. I just think it's cheaper, a little more efficient, and saves a little green space. All right, but overall, it's a well-done project. Good.
Commissioner Twarnga?
Thank you. I'm very pleased that we have an ongoing solution both for pickleball and for tennis, and I'm delighted with this plan. Looks good to me. Thanks.
Well, guys, you worked really, really hard. I mean, and so did we. But the advocacy that you guys are showing about something that you're so passionate about is really commendable. And when I look at you, I think of this is exactly what Dunedin is. Doesn't matter what the subject is. It matters about the effort that you put into your community to advocate for yourselves and your teammates or your colleagues or whatever the situation is. You guys are what make me proud to be a part of this community. So thank you for all the work that you've done. Give yourselves a little hand. Jennifer, I know you have some things to say.
I do, and thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, and I very much appreciate your comments in regards to staff, and Jessica, your comments in regards to the commission and administration. And I wanted to add special thanks to Vince and to Lainey and to Jocelyn, Bruce as well, but especially to Vince, who has really driven this effort and this project forward. You remember, some of you may have been on that meeting, at that meeting on January 4th of 2023. Really difficult meeting, and it was to move forward from there to get here has been, a huge effort. And Vince, we meet every other week on a one-on-one, and every other week we talk about pickleball. And he's really been pushing it, and I'm really, you really want your Director of Parks and Recreation to be there to push this type of thing, to say our community needs it, we've got to do it, keep on pushing it, moving it forward, and still continue to meet with the tennis players to find out what it is that they need. So I'm really proud of Vince and his staff and what we've been able to do here
It looks beautiful, it really does, and I can't wait for the ribbon cutting. So thanks very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Any last words, Vince?
I can't say anything more than that. Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay.
Appreciate it. But I also do want, the Parks and
All right,
Recreation
let's do
Advisory
a-
Committee and you said it, Mayor, pretty much the people that are in this room today have really been behind me in the project.
It's really cool, isn't it? Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Torga?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Franey?
Aye.
Mayor Boszowski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Hey, can we get all the pickleballers to come up here? Can we get a big group picture? I just really think it's important. We'll just stand up, but I just, it's just a great viewpoint of what we can all do together.
Look at Sue. Sue's not sure if her phone can do that.
Maybe we can get a tall person.
You have a racket I can hold?
Just come here and then look that way.
It's awesome.
Huh?
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Come on, Charlie.
Need everybody to squeeze in, though. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got to squeeze in a lot. She's hating me, I know it. I don't care.
Hey, Charlie. Good, how you doing? How's retirement going?
Yeah, I see it.
One day.
There, we got a tall guy right back there. I'm standing on my tippy toes.
Me too.
Sounds like an early Memorial Day.
Can you get the mayor?
I'm tipping.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Jessica, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So we're going to take a quick break while
Thank you
these
so
guys
much.
disperse.
Thank you for your advocacy.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, 5 minutes.
get 4 people. With the number of absences that we have due to vacation, sick leave, extended medical leave, military leave, education, we're still running with a minimum of 3 people on each apparatus. So this would allow us to reduce some of the overtime as well by adding these 6 firefighters. So, did I cover everything, I think? Any questions?
Okay, yeah, we've got questions, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yes.
You want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. Chief, remind me the 4 in the truck issue, because I know it's 2 go in the building, 2 stay out to do, just remind me how that works, and how does that truly play into our operation, since that's for fires, and 85% of what we do is medical. Just kind of, if you could help me through that.
Right, and this grant is based on fire, so it's not based on EMS. But basically we have 4, if you have 4 people on a ladder truck, you're allowed to have 2 people run the ladder, the aerial at that one time, and the other 2 would be able to do some interior work as well, ventilation, searching, walking around the building in a 360-degree search to evaluate the construction of the building and what the conditions are. So that's where we would benefit from having those 4 people on the ladder truck especially.
And in the way that our system works, like how fast do you get so much from other departments for like a big fire event? Does that become a real factor?
It does. It varies based on the number of calls. As you said, most of the majority of our calls are EMS calls. So we'll see, especially nowadays, we gave you that chart there, 2007 till now, we've increased 40% of our calls, per year. We've actually, from last year, Station 60's area, we've increased, 400 and some odd calls over last year to this date. So our number of calls are increasing, which means the number of units haven't been added, except for Rescue 60 in our area. But that means that these units are busy. We do training with the county. We do North County training, so we have units unavailable. If we have to transport a patient, that means our unit's down. If we run into Bayfront or any of the trauma centers, we're out of the area for extended period of time. That takes the whole engine out of service because our paramedic has to ride in with the ambulance. So there's any number of reasons why we would be relying on mutual aid to come in. And again, they're further distance away. They have to fight the traffic issues to get into the city. As you know, 580 is no gem to get through rush hour or any other time of the day lately here. But so again, it varies what the time of day is, obviously, and the activities, the calls that we're on.
Well, this isn't necessarily a question, but I'm relatively certain no one up here has had the experience I just had, where I actually got to personally try out our new transport unit. And I will say that we waited for Sunstar. And while we waited, I was in a lot of pain, so I was given pain med. And I didn't even understand it, but with the pain med, like even if Sunstar had gotten there in time, one of our firefighters would have had to stay with me because they've given me a pain med, and they're the only ones, so they would have to stick with me through the ER. So again, bogs our people down, and our firefighters were amazing, by the way. And so it's just interesting how those things can overlap. But either way, because Sunstar just wasn't coming, I got to ride in our new transport unit, so.
So can I add
There
to
you go.
that? Can I add to that? When I broke my back in 2010, and we were waiting for everybody to come to the Dunedin Marina, I just couldn't breathe because the pain was so excruciating. And Sunstar, I think you all maybe have arrived at the same time. I really don't remember. I was a little hazy on it. But Sunstar wasn't going to give me any pain medicine. And you all advocated for a Dunedin resident to say it's very clear, because I couldn't breathe because the pain was so bad. So
yeah, I think
And
it's
so
it's exactly why the transport unit makes sense to have, and with our call volume, we proved that out. I mean, one of the things that I did ask Jennifer, because a lot was put on call volume in their backup, but my question was, well, I think in a lot of ways we've proved out call volume. That's how we got the transfer unit. So to me, it's not as much about call volume as, are we appropriately having enough staff to do what we have to do out in the field? And I think when you look at our overtime, the answer is a resounding no. So I don't really have any other questions at this stage. So, but I appreciate this. I absolutely support this.
Yeah, could I add to it? And just with Sunstar, real quick, they went back, when we got through COVID, they as well were they're going through their times with the staffing. So they instituted a BLS unit, which is Basic Life Support Unit, which doesn't have a paramedic on it. So any of those calls, like your reference to your call, that's new to us, that we would have to ride in with that patient if it was an ALS patient.
Right, I appreciate that. I did have one other question. So in the other departments in the county, is it more common than not to have at least 4 on the engines, or is that still a work in progress?
Yeah, it's work in progress. They do like to do that. Again, this is just a hit and miss type of thing. If we have a great day where everybody shows up to work, then we would be able to staff 4 in the vehicle. We can't do it today because we're still missing those 2,
Right.
one for engine 60 and one for the truck. But that's the goal. But we just can't. Nowadays, it seems like we're always, we allow 2 people off on vacation. We have sick people. We have 1 out right now on an extended medical leave. We have 1 on an extended military leave. So we just can't seem to get ahead.
So I guess that again emphasizes, it's not as much about, it's nice to have 4 on the engine if you can, but in a lot of ways, it's can we just keep it adequately staffed overall and not have to take it out of service?
And that was one of the big things that we heard our crews, in the last couple of years when we were going through the growing pains here, trying to keep people, is that they were working excruciating hours of overtime and they just didn't have time to spend with their families, and hence the idea of the switching the shifts to the 4896, where they got to spend more time at home as well with their families. But it's always been a concern lately, as of late, to just get people where we can reduce the amount of overtime. So this would help with that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner,
Thank
questions?
you, Mayor. I saw this as really 2 particular issues, and see if I'm correct, or I think you've already stated that, but I saw this as simply a safety issue. First of all, certainly when you're working, when you got 2 and 2. To me, I thought that was the safety side for having the 4 on the vehicle, but then also principally because of all the stress that's been put on our firefighters from the work that they're doing and all the overtime hours. I mean, it's just been incredible. So that's how I saw this. Is that correct? And I'll make my comments later, but.
Yes, sir. That's the way, like I just talked about the overtime relief there. That would be helpful. And also we have what they call the 2 in, 2 out, and I think Vice Mayor talked about it a little bit there. But we have, when an engine arrives, by state statute, we have to have 2 people inside, or in order for 2 people to go inside, we have to have 2 people outside. And they don't count the incident commander as one of those 2 outside. So the more staffing that we can get to make that 4 person crew, the faster we'll be able to attack fires as such. The only option that we can get out of that is if there's immediate threat to life, that we can go in with 3 people on a crew. But we would rather have the 4, and be safe with that.
Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Questions?
Yeah, just a quick one. Chief, you just made a comment with regards to the SAFER grant opportunities based on fire and not EMS. It's a little unclear on kind of how both of those requirements get covered. I see the fire part of it, but I mean, are we still going to be impacted by EMS certified, qualified individuals?
Yeah, we're not changing the people that we hire. We still want firefighter paramedics, and we'll put them through school if they're missing one or the other. The thing that we're learning from the SAFER grant is that It's based on firefighters, so it's not based on, they don't want to hear that you're going to put a rescue in service with paramedics, because that's not what this grant is about. It's about putting firefighters in the seats. So we just had the benefit of cross-training them to do both.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no further questions.
Okay. I don't have any questions. I got them all answered. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to come forward and speak to this item? Okay. We'll come back to the maker of the motion. Vice Mayor.
No, I mean, I've been concerned about our level of overtime and making sure we don't have to take units out of service for some time. And I think this is a very, it's great that we're doing this. And I hope that we're lucky enough to get some firefighters out of this. I think, so I'm very supportive. Thank you.
Commissioner Tonga.
I fully support the program. Thanks for bringing it to us. I hope we can get this done as quick as possible, if nothing more than for safety for our guys.
Commissioner Gao?
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't have any questions, just, I'll put my concern first. I'm in support of this, but I at least want to recognize that for the number of employees that we're adding, it's because of a grant, that after a certain period of time, the city is going to absorb that personnel. And the number of personnel that we're absorbing, would we be absorbing them in that period of time had we not had the grant to begin with? And so I just want to, are we grabbing at free money now at the expense of future budget concerns in the future? That's just a concern, thought in my head. If you'd like to respond, you may. It looks like you do. You wait till the end?
Certainly.
Okay, all righty. And then other than that, I certainly do want to recognize the overtime and the concern and stress that puts on the individual and thereby the department as well. I also have my own concerns about future heat-related events and things like that are going to come. And it's not going to be an individual necessarily. It's going to be groups of people and things of that nature, which is going to require more personnel. And so it's because of all those issues, I do certainly support this item before us, but I just at least wanted to put that budget concern out there.
Mayor? Yes, thank you. We intend in fiscal year 2028 to absorb those 6 positions if we're awarded those 6 positions. I've been working with Les Tyler, our Director of Finance, as far as what that looks like. This is a general fund expenditure, and so the impact is on the general fund. So we're being very careful to monitor what that impact would be moving forward. I am very hopeful that we get all 6 positions. If it's 3, then we'll take 3 moving forward, but we do intend to absorb that, and we're going to make sure that we have the ability in the general fund in year 2028 to absorb those.
And Jennifer, if you can also just elaborate on the way you're looking at it is the reduction of the overtime costs that we're currently paying.
Right.
So it's not just an add-on of whatever the dollar amount we're going to pay these people. It's some of it is in exchange for what we're already paying out.
So there are 2 reductions that we're looking at, 12% from the county to begin with in 2028. And also, we budget for overtime in the fire department every single year, and every city does, because unfortunately, there's always going to be overtime in the fire department. So last year, we had about 22,500 hours of overtime, I think, in the fire department. Of that, 20,000 of it was leave, annual leave, medical leave, military leave, and that type of a thing. So we're hoping that in the future, moving forward, we're going to at least be able to offset the overtime and the leave time with just general fund monies. So it's essentially a wash moving forward. So, but we are looking forward to it. I think, and I want to emphasize that it's not just straight overtime. It is overtime because of people who are on leave, because of people who are on sick leave, because of people who are on military leave. And so, and we need to address that. And I think that this is and the way this has been conveyed to me by fire admin is that this is the fix that we need for that overtime.
And it's the smartest approach to get money.
Right.
Can I tack on to that, though? Maybe I'm wrong, but it's been my experience with fire service that to some extent, they like some overtime.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Truth in that?
Yes.
So again, I just think as we hopefully we get all 6 positions between the time of that and the time of our intention to try to absorb it, that we understand the dynamics of what this did, what it didn't do, and we have a clear analysis of that.
Just to speak to the kind of scheduled overtime or yes, the firefighters do enjoy the ability to have some of that overtime. We run the Dunedin Blue Jays games all summer long. We're running the Dunedin football games for the high school. We have multiple special events throughout downtown that offer the firefighters the ability to work some of that. And the nice thing about those are scheduled. We can look at a calendar, 3 months in advance and know exactly when those events are, and people can plan their lives around it and decide to take it or not. We, of late, have had very few times that we've had to mandatory a firefighter to work a special event, just because of the fact that we know when they are.
Great, thank you.
And by the way, thank you for that, because I remember the days when there wasn't a standby person at the Dunedin High School football games.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that, because that was something we worked really hard on to support our school back when I was school liaison.
Yeah, we're excited to be able to be a part of that again. This is our second year doing it, and plan on continuing that as we move forward. That relationship's been good with them.
Thank you. Commissioner, final comments?
Yes, ma'am. As I think one of the biggest, the most important issues is making sure that our first responders have a quality of life, and the limitations of morale and such are significantly impacted by the current state of our overtime. I view this as being one of the biggest issues that we face, and I will say that I was very excited when this was brought to us with regards to being an elegant way to solve one of the biggest issues that we have. So I'm obviously in favor of this very strongly. I will maybe have a little bit of a different perspective on the budgetary concerns. Yes, the budgetary concern, making this decision at the potential expense for future budgetary decision is not the way I would look at it. I look at this as being a way to fix a near-term problem. The second part of this is that I think it's our responsibility to make sure that this we're not kicking the can down the road in the hope that, we're going to be able to solve this through attrition and everything associated with it. But the city manager provided a great remedy for that, but I think just be mindful that as leaders of the city, we're just going to have to keep an eye on this, because 2 years from now, we want to make sure we're fully staffed, and we're not spending a ton in overtime, and that more importantly the crews have their quality of life and everything associated with what they deserve. So anyway, that's all I've got. Thank you.
They've said it all, so have no concerns. I'm actually excited that we did have this approach. So good job on coming up with it. Okay. I think I asked for public input, didn't I? Okay.
I have none.
Yeah, okay. All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Tonga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Frainie?
Aye.
Mayor Brzezowski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, we have the reimbursement agreement with Verizon for undergrounding at a cost of about $80,000. Bob?
Yes, Mayor. Bob Ironsmith, Director of Economic Development. This is in conjunction with the Skinner Complete Streets project, if you recall, from the commission recently approved. This is going from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, creating a safer environment. It has 2 roundabouts, 7-foot bike lane, 10-foot wide sidewalks, and in that was also the undergrounding of the utilities to remove the blight. And There are some joint users on the Duke poles. This is one of them, MCI Metro, also Verizon. And this would be a reimbursement agreement to get those utilities underground. They would go ahead and do some directional bore. There would be no impact to any of the consumers, no impact whatsoever. And this is the first. We got a couple others that will be coming to you here in the near future, which would be Frontier, WOW, and Spectrum. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. This is the first step to undergrounding those utilities. that are
Okay.
overhead.
Any questions?
There's that one.
Okay.
So this, again, I think you say it in the staffing, I just want to reiterate, because there's so many of them. So all of these co-locations have been factored in, excuse me, to our total cost and budget to get Skinner done. I mean, there's no surprises here.
That's correct, Vice Mayor. It's all been budgeted and accounted for. This is part of the overall project. And, you know, as a result of efforts from Jennifer and Jorge, you know, the Duke was less. And so actually, we're a little bit ahead of the game. But yeah, it was all factored in.
Great. I like being ahead of the game. That's perfect. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else with a question?
Yes. Since this is the first one, correct?
Yes, Commissioner.
And you're estimating we're going to have X amount of others after this, as you
Correct.
just said. How close did this come to what we estimated it to be?
Very close. We were right in there around the 80 grand number, so very, very close on this one.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got pretty good numbers on it, but thank you, Commissioner.
Anybody else with questions? Anybody from the public wish to speak to this item?
It's not pickleball. I know it's not as.
Nobody's rushing to watch
That's okay,
I know
Bob.
it.
All right, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Second, third.
No.
Okay,
It's okay, I'm
Vice
good.
Mayor Franny and Commissioner Walker. Any final comments from anybody? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Cool. Okey doke, now we have the proposed agenda for April 16th work session. All looks good to me. Any questions or changes? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Torga and Commissioner Gao, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. We have our workshop item, which is the discussion of amendment to city services agreement with Empower Financial Services. Teresa. This should go quick, right?
Good morning again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Teresa Smalling, Director of HR and Risk Management for the city. As in your staffing, we talked a little bit about what we are looking to do, and I have a brief PowerPoint to just go over all the high points of what was in your staffing. So just a little bit of a primer. The city has two vehicles for retirement that are available for the 401A, our general employees, and for the 457B, all of our eligible employees. The 401A plan is 100% funded by city contributions. The employees do get to choose what funds that the money goes into. When they first start, it's defaulted into what's known as a target date fund, so that, which basically puts it in a 30-year plan that they can fund, that they can change at any time. The 457B is 100% employee contributions, and they also get to choose what funds they want to put those monies in. On the next slide just gives a asset summary of the 401A. The dark blue is the target date funds that I just spoke about. And then the 457, the similar breakdown with the various plans that are chosen by employees. So what we're here to discuss today is the capital preservation investment option, which we refer to as a guaranteed government fund. Currently, the GGF that's provided by Empower makes up about 14% of the total plan assets. That's 189 participants. And then of that, 35% of our total 541 participants have funds invested in the GGF. So we have 54 employees, or participants, I should say, who only are invested in the GGF. That means all their money is in that one fund. And that represents approximately $3.6 million. The credit rate or the return on the investment right now as of quarter one of 2024 is at 1.9%. So that's almost like a savings account. So the things that we were looking at, currently we have a 7-year service agreement with Empower. It was awarded in 2022 through the RFP process. And at the time, we looked at the GGF, and the main factor of not switching then was, if you remember, the current market at the time, there would be, we could incur serious losses because of the way the market was if we made that transfer. So we put it off and kind of asked One Digital, who's our investment partner, if you will, to kind of track it for us. And as of last year, as the market improved, the environment became a little better for us to consider changing. So there are similar capital preservation investments as well as money market funds that now offer higher rates. Empower Service Agreement does not allow us to add on, so we would have to basically get rid of the current GGF in order to move forward with a plan with a higher investment or higher credit rating, that is. So just what we call the market value adjustment, if we switch the GGF, Empower does require what we call a penalty depending on the market and what the value of what we're moving is as of the time that we want to move. And they do not offer, if we considered, if we just requested that Empower give us a different capital preservation option, and they do not allow that because they will not absorb any type of loss. So as you can see, right now, as of December 31st, we're looking at possibly 375 because of the way the market is. And I can have Ron talk a little bit about that if you have questions on that later. So if we ask One Digital to look at a couple of options for us, and they, in talking with Empower, were told that Empower would accept the Lincoln Stable Value or the Standard Apex Guaranteed. What the graphic shows you is the current credit rating, unadjusted, of Empower 1.9. Standard is about 5.25, and Lincoln's about 4.75. And these figures are as of late March. So, knowing the market, this can change from time to time. The credit rating if we do the MVA penalty, would drop the rates to 1.79, 4.91, and 4.41 respectively. And then there would be a period, so there would be a period where the Standard and Lincoln would recoup the loss that they absorbed over a certain amount of years, and that's shown there. So for the first 4.25 years, we would get a return of 3.46 on the Standard, and for the first 5 years, it would be 3.21 for Lincoln. So even with taking the penalty and going through that period of recouping the loss, you can clearly see that the employees would still get a rate of return that's better than what they're getting now with Empower. So just things to consider, as I mentioned before, there would be our asset-based fee, which is right now at 0.11, which was negotiated down from 0.18 at the time of the RFP process, would go up to 0.15, and there would be an additional 0.30 asset-based fee assessed for Empower to recoup what they're losing from no longer having a GGF with the city. There would be also some changes in the other benefits that Empower gives to us. So that just shows with the distributions, there may be some additional costs, and the employee education days that Empower provides would be reduced. Now, I do want to stress that in this whole transaction, employees do not lose any value to their assets. Their assets would not be impacted in any way. So we do recommend and ask for consensus direction from the City Commission to continue in this process of looking at another capital preservation option. And then if a commission does allow for this, we will come back to a future work session with this agendized for final approval. And that just gives us our limits and thresholds. So at this time, we're happy to take any questions or comments that you may have.
Okay, I'm going to start at this end. Any questions? Jeff, Rob?
None for me.
I have questions. So, I mean, I hear 1.9 and it sounds horrible, because my investments that I keep, through Ameriprise, are, again, the typical 12% a year. And I worry about the retirement plan for our employees, that they are going to have enough to, live on when they actually do have to retire or want to retire. So I'm trying to understand. Let me ask one question. HR, who oversaw the bid originally in 2022 for the company? Like, who evaluated the bid?
We One Digital as our consultant helped us put the bid together. We evaluated with them, finance, HR, and One Digital examined and came up with the final list.
Can I ask Les to weigh in on this and recommendation and how this is so low, at least in my mind, with the rest of the world? Yeah, don't fall down.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Les Tyler, the Finance Director. I was involved in the RFP process that you just asked Teresa about, and Empower has this guaranteed fund that's not flexible, and we've been in it for a while. And as Teresa mentioned, we've had Ron, our consultant, here with us today, who's been looking at the market the past few years, and the market's changed to where it makes sense to go out and look at other opportunities. As Teresa mentioned, the Lincoln and the other fund just mentioned, they're earning, one of the things, when you look at the fund we're in now, if you look at the last 3 years or so, as an example, or even more than that, maybe 5 years, that 1.9 doesn't change a lot. It's moved a little bit, but not much. It's not moved with the market, and that's kind of what you're getting at, I know. And so we've been watching the market for a while, Ron has, and we think it's a good time to make a move now to try to get something more closer. It will be at, we instead of 1.9, we'd be at about 3.5 or 6, whatever that number was, for the next 4 years, and then it would go to market, and that will fluctuate more with market in these other funds, but it would be a better return than we've been getting with our current situation with Empower.
So, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, I do want to point out now that 1.9 is just for one fund in the entire menu of funds. So this option, the GGF, is basically a savings account when you just put the money in there and it doesn't do much in the market.
So it's potentially the most conservative option that we have right now.
Correct.
So we're just shifting that.
Right, so
okay.
what we've been doing over the years in working with Empower is, because Empower has been with the city since about 2009, what we have been doing through the Empower rep, Christina, is reaching out to those employees that only have money invested in that GGF. And kind of, because I know it's scary, the market, everybody's scary, but with retirement, over time, you may lose money, but you're always going to gain. They call it dollar cost averaging, as you well know. So what we're talking about is just, as it says here, 14% of our plan assets are invested in that fund. But we have a whole menu of other options.
So people can take something much more aggressive if they're younger and they have time
Correct.
All right, so this is, okay,
Yes.
that does help me.
That's how the target date funds are set up, so that the further out you are, the more aggressive your investments, and the closer you get to retirement, the more conservative the investments become.
Okay, that makes sense. That does help. Thank you, appreciate it. I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
Anybody else questions?
I'll go ahead.
Questions? Okay, go ahead.
So, when I looked at this proposal, I assumed that I would be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm going to ask just a couple quick questions, and later I'll give my what I think we ought to be doing with this. But as I looked at this, I had some degree of comfort that only 14% of our money was in here. And I'm very pleased. I think I heard you correct, because here was my question. My question was, have we been advising our employees that we got this one particular fund is not well, and so if you're willing to accept that, well, then there you go. It's guaranteed, right?
Yes,
So-
it is
So
guaranteed.
it's guaranteed, so somebody may say, fine, I'm willing to put 5% of my monies in that. I don't know, but so that is correct, and that they've been advised, and that's really important. That's the important part. We just happen to have a flat tire here in this particular fund, in my opinion, and I don't know how that happened. So my second question was, how did that happen? How did this get, just out of curiosity, how did this get just so blown out of proportion compared to what you can get any place?
I'm going to allow Ron to, there's some history involved with that.
You can make it short.
Yeah, the
Summary.
These, and I'm glad everyone understands that there's a lot of investment options offered to employees. The city's obligation, just like any other, institution we work with, we work with, 6 other municipalities here in Pinellas County, helping them counsel. The city's job is to offer quality investments, and we monitor those quarterly, and if they fail to meet benchmark standards, we'll recommend replacing or removing them. This is the one investment option that it's a little bit more difficult to do that, because we have this behind the scenes contractual obligation that if we wanted to move it, we have to deal with this market value adjustment penalty if the interest rate environment is one that would trigger that. So that's part of the answer, is that we watch it, but we have to, there's more impact when we change. Like if I change a large company stock fund from T. Rowe Price to JP Morgan, the city approves it. That happens overnight, proper communication to employees. It's very simple and seamless. The second part of this answer, so it's a little bit more complicated contractually with this specific investment. The most boring investment in the investment menu, by the way, is sometimes the most complex. The second part is that this type of investment we kind of call as a stable value investment. They're only available to be offered within employer-sponsored plans for employees. You can't get this with your Ameriprise account for that reason. And just predictability of cash flows, I could get a lot deeper in this. I'll refrain and stay high level. But one of the benefits of these stable value funds is they tend to be able to pay above short-term interest rate market yields in a lot of interest rate environments, and they're more stable. than money markets. For example, money markets just 3 years ago were paying, 0.03, 0.08%, and this was paying over 1.5%. So it does benefit employees in low interest rate environments. We're obviously not in a low interest rate environment. And the magnitude of the difference between short-term interest rates and where we are now has been magnified. So that is, it's not been a poor investment. In fact, it's outperformed short-term interest rate environments in many cycles, but right now, and as the Fed raised rates so much, and as we might not see them cut rates, as we see that in publications, it's very important and prudent for us to consider this, and that's why we're bringing it forward to you.
Well, so thank you. So then I really shouldn't say that's a flat tire, because I understand what this is. It's a guarantee. No matter what happens, you're going to get this. So there'd be people that would put some percentage of their money in this. It depends on how much money you have, et cetera, as to how much of a concern you'd have about this. So we didn't start out with this much higher and have it come down. We're just discovering that, hey, we're not really quite happy with this, and we know there's other guarantees that we can get funds that are going to be better than this. Is that correct?
That's correct. And
Right.
and in a lot of other, in other contracts, we're able to add, as Therese mentioned earlier, a more competitive short-term interest rate option like a money market. For example, City of St. Petersburg did that in their plan. We're just not able to do that here, so we're having to look outside. But yes, this whole conversation's a product of ongoing due diligence, monitoring, staying on top of this to make sure that employees have very competitive investment options for their program and competitive.
Are we going to go
cost
through comments now or not? Or you have
No,
something to make my
we're going to
comment?
wait for all the questions.
Okay. Then we're going to do comments.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Questions?
Thank you.
Questions? No? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing, and I just want to make sure I've got the math right. The market value adjustment of $360,000, it appears to be covered by the pro forma or projected rate increase. Is that correct?
Yes, there's several of these investment managers that will agree to, if you allow them to have their fixed account investment in the plan, they will agree to absorb any negative penalty, make their employees whole, so their 100 cents in a dollar stays 100 cents in a dollar, and they finance that over a period based, and they reduce the rate. In this case, the rate that they would reduce to is still considerably higher than what we are seeing with Empower, so it seems to be a win-win.
Okay, yeah, that was really kind of the only thing that kind of jumped out at me on this. Anyway, no further questions, thank you.
Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak to this at all? Okay, we're looking for some consensus direction. And then you're bringing something back, right, Jennifer? Okay. Everybody have consensus direction of moving forward?
I'm delighted to have them at all times looking at ways to improve. So, yes.
Yes, for me as well. I think
The consensus direction is to continue to review this, is my
Yes.
understanding. Okay, no,
Yes.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay, anybody have any final comments? Commissioner Tonga, you wanted?
No, just that I'm very happy that we're looking at this and understanding it and making sure that the employees know that we're looking at it and observing it and trying to find a better deal for them. So always, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I agree with the fact that we continue to educate our employees to make sure they know, and they're thinking through that decision based on, what the return can be. So, thank you.
Anything from you guys?
Just echoing everything that everybody else has said. Yeah, 1.9, that 1.9%, but I understand the premise of that fund, but, I'm glad that we are looking at ways to improve that. Thank you.
Yep, thank you for bringing it forward.
We're good? Thank you. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to move to informational items, commission discussion. I don't think I got anything on that I saw. City clerk's update.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually have a few things today. Let me timestamp that. the first thing I wanted to talk about is, at the last meeting, you had mentioned the May 16th meeting and asked us to do some research on it because of a awards-type dinner.
Yeah, the
that's
Visit St. Pete Clearwater thing.
Yeah, Visit St. Pete Clearwater. And so I did print out the May 16th agenda, and currently, the only item on that is National Safe Boating Week proclamation. That is that May 18th through the 24th. So depending on the discussion and how to move forward, we could reach out to them and have them move. But currently, I do not have any. It's a little early, so there aren't any action items currently on that agenda right now. And so.
Jennifer? Are you okay with it all?
Yes, we have nothing but that one item.
Okay.
So,
So the question is, and I don't even know the location yet, and I don't even know all the businesses that will be in the top 3. Usually it's top 3. But I think I shared with you the 20-some names. You probably saw it on our newsletter, 20 or 30, I don't remember, that are a part of this. So I just feel like it's something we should participate in. So are you guys willing to do that? Cancel that meeting and go to this event?
And this is a Thursday night?
Right.
I don't know, in the future, are you going to be open to canceling a Thursday morning, Tuesday morning? Just kidding. I'm kidding, it's a joke, okay?
You really do owe me that.
I think that.
I mean, I think it's a
I think if
one-time
we don't
thing.
have things on the agenda and there's a way to support our community in a different way, that probably makes 100% good sense.
Totally agree.
Yep, you're here.
John?
No, I agree. If we have
Okay.
the-
As soon as I get, so we're then consensus
Consensus that
direction
I'll
to
cancel
cancel.
that meeting. Okay,
As
thank
soon
you.
as I get the information, I checked this morning before I got here to see if they posted it yet, and they have not. We'll get Lindsay on getting us tickets, and I just think it's a good way to go out and support our business community and show the love to Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
I mean, we know it's going to be in the Tampa Bay area, right? I mean,
Oh,
it's-
yeah,
I
it's,
mean,
we're not
it's
traveling. No,
right,
it'll be
so
somewhere
it'll be
in
somewhere
Pinellas
where we
County.
can go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's somewhere in Pinellas County. We just don't know where. I know it's at 5:30. I just don't know where. To be
Maybe it's here.
determined, and I don't know how many, but I have gone to this before in the past.
Yeah, I have two.
There are, I
There's a ton
mean,
of
we
our-
always have a number of Dunedin winners. So somebody from Dunedin will win something, and I just feel like it's good for us to go.
And when we plan ahead, it's easier that way.
Exactly,
because
we're
then
not, that's why I brought
can
it forward.
get that off the
Okay.
peak. And a couple other items, thank you, Mayor.
Uh-huh.
I did want to give an update on the general election on the candidates. We did have one candidate, since I last briefed you, that decided to withdraw, so I still have 3 for the mayor, Maureen Mofrini, John Torga, and John Shine, and 2 for seat 1, Tom Dugard and Shane Worth, and then Stephen Sandberger would be seat 3, but I just wanted to give an update on that. And then I also have an update. The Citizens Academy, we just met yesterday and kind of finalized some of the dates, and they're on your calendar. We did meet with Lindsay and make sure that those dates were. So starting May 1st, actually, the Citizens Academy through June 14th, we'll get that on the website, and that will be the application period, just in case that you get any questions on that. And then just the last thing that I had is I just wanted to, it's all on your calendar, but I will be out of the office all next week and a couple of days of the following week to attend my son's wedding and get some great grandbaby time and spend some time with my family. So Michelle will be here, but I'll have my laptop. I'll check it on occasion and have my phone, but I just want to give you a heads up that I'll be out of the office.
Tell me again the dates you're out of the office?
Starting next Monday.
Okay.
Through the 16th, the Tuesday. So I'll be about a week and 2 days.
Gotcha.
You usually put it in our calendars. Or
Yes, it's already, it should be already in your calendar.
Okay.
Yes. So, and
All right.
that's all I had. Thank you.
Any questions for Rebecca? Thank you, Rebecca. City manager update.
I have no update.
There you go. Yay. City attorney update.
Nothing going on.
I do have an update. We decided to switch this time. So just very briefly, earlier this morning, you approved a piggybacking agreement for sidewalk repairs. And unfortunately, it's come to my attention that the agreement that was provided in your packet was not the most up-to-date. The changes that are different between what you previously looked at and what is now before you are minor. There was a whereas clause that was added to the agreement that just simply stated that you desire to continue to maintain and repair its sidewalks as needed, and the contractor has agreed to repair and perform the maintenance on the city sidewalks in accordance with the original contract. And then the only other change was in Exhibit B, and there was just some minor languaging with regard to changes in the level of the sidewalk. So the scope didn't change and the dollar amount didn't change. But so the record is clear, we would like a new consideration of the commission in approving the revised contract.
A new vote?
A new vote.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Torga and Commissioner Gao, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, commission comments. Vice Mayor.
Well, I'm just going to focus on my last 2 weeks, and I want to just thank particularly the 2 firefighters that came to my rescue literally in downtown Dunedin with my accident. Firefighter EMT Derek Courier and firefighter paramedic Nick Carosco. Hope I'm saying this right. They were no less than amazing in a time of crisis, and I'm extremely appreciative to them. I'm also extremely appreciative that we have a fantastic Dunedin East Hospital ER, and Roy and Sam, 2 of the guy nurses. Sam's both of them guys, and they were amazing. And but the care there is really great. And so as I was laying on the ground, I had someone call Commissioner Gao to see if he could go to the Elks event for me that night of the incident, and he stepped up because it was 2 hours before it or something, and he stepped up and did it. Appreciate that, because I know the Elks really appreciated that. One of the events I could not go to was the John Maroney dinner, and I know some of you did, and I hated to miss that. But I'm sure it was a great evening. And one of the other things I hated to miss, but it was the day after surgery, and I was not in a good place. I was Peter Kersinger's book signing, and Peter's been, a great person for this community, and I hated to miss that, but I heard it went well. I heard it was well attended, and that makes me happy. It was at the public library, but in general, I'll be basically, as I said, I'll be bumming a lot of rides here in the next month. So I hope you all be open to that, but I appreciate the support. So thank you, and the community, because I had a lot of great comments from the community and things, and it's very appreciated.
Well, we're very glad that you're on the mend.
Yep.
Good for you. Commissioner Torga?
I have no comments or updates for the liaisons.
Commissioner Gao?
Now, yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, just real quickly, we had some good conversation with PSTA. Just wanted to bring everybody up to date. I don't really discuss PSTA nearly as much as I should. But we did receive an update. We have a new transit center that's going to be coming to downtown Clearwater at the corner of Court Street and Myrtle. And that is coming along. That's all going to be paid for through federal funding with local contributions from the Florida Department of Transportation, Ford Penungas, and the land was contributed by the City of Clearwater. So kudos to the City of Clearwater. It's going to be a multimodal transportation or transfer facility. It's going to include a room for electric fleets, hailing taxis, pedestrians, bicycles. So it's going to be really something that's wonderful that's coming. The Sunrunner corridor, which has been getting some attention lately.
Attention. That's a good word for it.
And I just wanted to, there's some really good information. That's a 10-mile route that the Sunrunner travels. And along that route, I just want to talk about the redevelopment activity that comes with multimodal and public transit and BRT bus routes. We have a total residential units being currently planned or in production, 14,750. Total commercial square feet is 2,675,000. and a total estimated value of $9.4 billion for St. Pete. And that's what public transit multimodal can do for you. PSDA just had an audit that ended September 30th. And in the sexy world of financials and audits, we received an unmodified opinion that states that the financial statements were fairly presented. And that's as sexy as it gets in audit world. There were no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies identified regarding internal control over compliance. So kudos to PSTA. Also for Dunedin High School, I want to say happy 62nd anniversary to Dunedin High School. The school actually opened on September 5th of 1961 to students, and the school was actually dedicated April 1st of 1961. So happy birthday, Falcons. And certainly, last but not least, is it's Highland Games Week. So just a reminder that we have our Highland Games this weekend. It actually starts on Friday. It's going to start at 4:30 with festivities down at Pioneer Park. And the step-off for the Pipe Band Clan March is at 6:30, followed by a full day of celebration with our Highland Games at Highlander Park. It'll open at 7 a.m. for participants, 8 a.m. for the public, and it will run till 6 o'clock. It's a big year. We're expecting the largest crowd ever at the game, so please come, have a good time. And just wanted to acknowledge that this is the time that they set up before the games, and tomorrow would be a big setup day for them, but it's supposed to rain all or most of the day, and so there is a concern over that. So they are asking for anyone in the public that would like to come out on Thursday, kind of all hands on deck to try and help them catch up, because usually they are full days of getting things prepared, so we're going to have 2 days in one on Thursday to acknowledge that then they have to turn around and prepare downtown for downtown's event on Friday night. So Thursday is a big day. So if you've got some extra time to give, come on down. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker.
I've got nothing to add.
Nothing?
Hey, can I just say one thing before you go?
Uh-huh.
I should have mentioned, the day of my accident, Jennifer came to the ER, and she was nothing less than amazing. And she actually went to the pharmacy to get my prescription for my painkillers, and she was just a big help and a big moral support. So I just didn't want to leave that out. Thank you.
And then the blackberries. Oh, my
Yeah, the
God.
blackberries to, for keeping down the swelling. Yeah.
Blueberry.
Anyway, I didn't want to forget that because she was
Sure.
right there on scene checking in on me, and it was, again, very appreciated.
Sure. So, most of you, if you haven't seen it, we do have a group visiting us. Oh, there goes our firefighters.
Where's Mo? Where's Mo?
Hey, I'm safe.
We do have a group from Pennsylvania of retired school teachers coming into town that visit St. Pete Clearwater, reached out to us about. On a bus on Thursday, I think it's 12 or 12:30, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Coming into the marina and the visitor center, the Visit Dunedin, Merchants Association, et cetera. Some staff from the city are going to go down and greet them, give them a walking mat, say hello. But they'll be floating around downtown for a good couple of hours. So that's really awesome. Also, Dunedin's good friend, Mike Menino, who used to live here, ran for public office in Clearwater, because he's been living over there 5, 6, 8 years, I don't remember. But he also, kind of grew up in both communities. Won his election and got sworn in yesterday. So he's officially on the dais. So we wish him a huge congratulations.
He'll do a really good job over there.
Yeah, and then just one thing I wanted to point out that we don't have, and I thought we should, because we had one on our old building. Well, let me ask Jennifer, do we have a painted orange anywhere on this building?
In a conference room?
Outside?
No, not that I know, not outside.
I think we should.
Yeah, we better take care of that.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had one on our old building, and the old building was, I think we were one of the first people tagged before anybody even knew who was doing it.
Okay.
So I think an homage to that and an homage to a lot of other things, it might be nice to even have one on the front and one on the back, you know, I just think it would be good.
And apparently Stephen's
Yes.
Facebook post, he's available.
Yes, which, you know, made me think about it.
Yep.
And any number of other things, but I just think they're everywhere, why not here? And especially if people are doing little scavenger hunts that they do. Go find the oranges, we should be on that list. So, thank you. That's all I've got, so if nothing else good for the order, we are adjourned, yay.